Hello guys, so today we will be doing the first semi-titan ever versus the most new semi-titan ever made. Let's get into it. So obviously, first semi-titan had errors such as the flamethrower going back at him. So the first semi-titan easily kills him. Matter of fact, he chops his freaking limb off. Yeah. First semi-titan stood no chance against this one. However, now that we notice his head is almost cut off, that is going to be bad for him. But I don't really care. Anyways, let's try the first semi-titan on each side. So like not this side, because that is on the Alliance side. We need the first semi-titan ever from the Infected and the first semi-titan ever from the Alliance. This would be interesting. Pretty interesting, actually. Thing is that the first semi-titan is kind of not really durable. As I'm being honest, we have to put it with non-fire because this is something else. He's strong, but his weapon is actually kind of his weakness now. Here we go. There we go. Now, he can actually be used. So let's do a rematch. Because his abilities, if he even had one, cannot attack against him, so it's only fair. They are both giants compared to regular humans. And to show you proof of that, for people who are unfamiliar what semi-titans are, let me show you what a titan is. Semi-titans are like a fraction of a titan. This here is a titan. That's a titan. Titans are very strong. Not even... The soldiers look like little pebbles compared to semi. Anyways, let's get this started. Obviously, he attempts to strike first. And his weapon gets knocked out. As flamethrowers don't really have a strong grip. So it's hard for his weapon not to get knocked out. Yeah. He also dismantled the weapon, so yeah. Even when it's fireproof, it's still hard to actually use the flamethrower because it just got stuck. So yeah. Flamethrower unfortunately drops, and now he's left with no weapons until he picks up the flamethrower. Yeah. Obviously, he finds the biometric scanner, but his vision relies on the biometric scanner. So he can't really see much without the biometric scanner. His armor turns red as the sign of his rage mode starting. And now, yeah, this basically starts. The first semi-titan attempts to use his body heat and everything else to kill him. His body is immune to flamethrowers. Only his armor is being endangered, but his whole body is armor, so yeah. However, he still resists the flamethrower enough that he can still function at least a little bit. And the first Semi-Titan is actually having trouble even standing up now. So that's a win-win for him, I guess. But even if he does survive this, I don't think he's going to want to survive this. It has been a long battle, but only his armor is getting overheated. His whole entire body is getting overheated. The last Semi-Titan's body is getting overheated. Parts of it is getting destroyed, and it's gonna fall apart in the next hour or two. So I feel like the first Semi-Titan won this, but he's going to enter rage mode now. So let's see what happens now. Yeah. Even in rage mode, his armor is outstanding, but a mean strike doesn't end up good for the first Semi. Yeah. He almost won. Almost won. He just had to wait. He just had to wait. Now, let's do the first Semi-Titan ever on the Alliance side versus the first Semi-Titan on the other side. Steal a brain rot. Tong 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 sahur bikes. And I'm not yeah. Large sizable tactical, yeah. First Semi-Titan, here we go. There. Attach a flamethrower. Matter of fact, the 1.0 version of the Semi-Titan didn't really have immunity to its weapon. So instead of a flamethrower, it was sometimes like the large unit with a machine gun, because it could handle the recoil, basically. Semi-Titans were actually made before Titans, as they were able to be mass-produced in some way. Titan came after Semi-Titans, has basically been the word feared, and they are still feared today, but not as feared as they used to be. They used to be the top of the chain. But the Semi-Titans had a weakness, and it was nuclear bombs that were actually mass-produced on the human side. But even then, Titans were easily able to deal with the nuclear bombs. The infected Titans. It's surprising, but they were easily able to. Easily. Yeah. It's true. They could withstand nuclear bomb, giant attacks. If you name something, they probably survived it. This is the 2.0 version of the Semi-Titan. It's a little cheating, but the first Semi-Titan was almost called as a failed project, and Semi-Titans would have been stopped producing as a whole. So yeah. First Semi-Titan ever? First Semi-Titan ever was actually a... This guy. Now he had that, which easily killed the first Semi. But it ran on battery circulations, so sometimes most of the Semi-Titan was only left. most parts of the Semi-Titan were left like this, and nothing else was there. So yeah. This thing is still strong, at least a little bit. See, it collides you see the grenade launcher? When you shoot this, sometimes the grenade launcher will also work. So let's do that. Sometimes, not all the time. Here. There. Press this button, both of them will fire. Like, strong. Very strong, actually. Wait, let me test it against the strongest Titan shown yet. No, that's feeling... Whatever. Bye.